For as long as you bike. Cervelo, is that an S? What?
S5.
Cervelo S5. With Dura Ace, that 12 speed?
Yeah.
Dura Ace 12. Looks sleek. Ready for action. Okay.
On this ride, I left Northampton, rode into the woodlands, picked up the group at the Alden Village Center. We headed out on Research Forest to Honea-Egypt, Grand Lake Estates. All of that's on film. We went out to Keenan-Cutoff, Springbranch Road, past Gary, and then we ended the film once we got near Dobbin. We continued off camera 1486 to Dacus, Johnson Road. At that point, I separated from the group, rode solo on 149. Once I got to Hidden Forest Road, took the forest to Mount Pleasant, briefly stopped at Taco past Montgomery, and came back. And I ended up taking Capital. I wanted to get more climbing in. I took Capital to Fishcreek and came down on Fishcreek Road. The route had originally called for us to use Leah Drive, but I took Fishcreek to come in just direct to get a higher climbing percentage on Capital. It's got a nice steep little bump. I think you will like the clips we put together.
Good job, my man.
Good job.
Good job.
We're at the Alden Village Center. It's still on. In the Woodlands, Texas.
It's a bike.
It's a bike. And then I rode.
Somebody go shopping?
By myself, so.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Cervelo, right?
Yeah.
We're headed out from the Alden Village Center. We're going north. We're going into the forest.
All right, how are you? I know.
Glad to be here.
Nice.
Thank you.
I would have missed it. Nobody said yes.
Looks like my other friend kind of.
I keep saying, let's go, let's go. Everybody's still standing around.
Yeah, finally got to do
It's
something.
time to go. We're waiting a little bit to see, but I think we end up leaving about 7:33 or something.
How have you been, man?
I'm great.
We're supposed to leave at 7:30. Some people roll in a car right at 7:30 and then take that time to get ready. I don't care for that foolishness. We clip in at 7:30. So if you roll in at 7:30, you're going to be chasing the
Nice to
group.
see you, man.
Hey, man.
Look at that beautiful bike.
I brought something for you.
Oh, praise the good Lord.
Yeah, I
I
brought
could
some.
use all the help, man. How's
Yeah.
Singapore? Very good.
You know, you always talk about food. I want food, meat.
Yep.
Try it.
Oh, this one. Okay, great.
Try it, and
All right.
let me know.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay, I will do that. I will do that. I will do that. Then I probably will not talk about.
And Paul gave me also a bag of that. That's it's a vegan. It's made from soy, but it tastes just like jerky. And it was pretty good actually on the ride. And late in the ride, when I got back, I tried it and I really liked it. And so I found some local.
These are big. This is a.
He's trying to give you some protein, man.
This is vegan. You will love it.
Yeah. This is
It's called Louisville Vegan Jerky. I found it at our local Sprouts also. You can find it online.
All right.
It's pretty
Let's do
good.
this.
What I'm doing with all these people.
No, Abby, the one that needs mercy is me. Let's go.
So we said, let's go. We're rolling. We have to kind of like lead the way
He said, let's
because
go.
people still standing around chatting. It's time to roll.
It's
7:33. It's time to go. It's time to go. And that's the thing about your ride. Try to be on time. Be prompt. If you're going to a group ride and they're clipping in at 8, don't get there at 8.
Yeah.
At the latest, get there at 8:45.
I park further
Actually,
out
it's
there.
best that you get there. Not 8. I'm not 8:45. I mean 7:45. It's best that you get there about 30 minutes to an hour before the ride takes off. Whether it's just a group ride or an event ride. That's Mike Bradbury. The reason is you got to give yourself a chance to get there. You're not rushing. You get your bike ready. you know, I don't go to group rides. Most of the rides I do now, I ride to them anyway. But if I do transport my bike, I do everything at home. I don't get to the ride and start putting air in the tires. I mean, what's the point? You can do that before you load the bike in the car. You can still take your pump with you if you want, but don't get to the ride, start airing up your tires. Do it at home. Get there and you already got your kit on. Put your shoes on, put your helmet on, and be ready to go. Put your bottles in the front so you don't forget anything. Because when you're hurrying, that's when you forget stuff. Get there early. Instead of leaving at 8, get there at 7:30 or 7 o'clock. Get your bike ready, get on the bike, go spin. Make sure everything's fine. Hopefully you've ridden the bike at least the day before if you put new wheels on it or whatever. Don't wait to find out stuff at the group ride. Do it before you get to the ride. Do it the day before. So if I'm changing wheels on my bike, I do it Thursday or Friday. I ride it to make sure there's no problem. It's very foggy.
Just now.
It's warm in our area. As you can see, it says 20 Celsius. So we at this point, we're past 1488. We merged with the guys that used to do the Team RR ride. They're leaving from a location called Zante. And that's why the group looks large, but we're going to split apart because they're going straight on Fishcreek. We're going Honea-Egypt. So we met them at the intersection at 1488. They were stopped at the light. The driver let us go because he has the right of way to go straight. We're turning left. So we thanked him. The mist on the camera is from the
It's
fog.
good to see you guys in, man. I know. Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've done a whole lot of rides. I've been riding by myself from time to time. And because of my spotty training, my goal this ride was not to do any VO2 efforts. And so you need to learn how to hold yourself back. Don't let the group push you to do things you're not ready to do. So you can end up setting yourself back. The roads are very slick because of the mist. And it's these kind of situations where you have a light film of moisture on the road. It raises the oils that are in the asphalt. It's actually slicker than when it rains heavily. So when it's damp, be extra cautious. Slow down in the turns. Keep your bike straight. And you may see, I don't know if Paul's behind me when I'm pulling. I think he may, no, probably not. But on Honea-Egypt, they scraped the roads in the curve, and my wheels were slipping.
Oh yeah, I like to go visit my brother. So
in the curves on the area that the script on the regular pavement, my tires were fine, but it was very, very slippery. So we took it very, very
So then it was good seeing you, man.
Yeah, this is where Paul's letting the guys know, Dan and Mark and them that we used to ride with. They're going straight. One of the guys that was riding with them stays with us on this side. I'm not sure why they end up calling him to join. They're going straight on Fishcreek. We're turning left here.
You can come with us, Dan.
Paul's messing with him. He's too busy talking. There's the guy in front on the right that he's moving over now. It's like, I guess he didn't know where his group was going. So before I join any group ride, I have a plan for me. I don't let the group dictate. I use the group for my benefit. I work on what I need to work on for each group ride.
I haven't seen much of you in the store.
You ain't been looking.
Well, I saw the crew ride.
So I've been riding consistently, but not as consistently. I have a lot of blocks of days that I've missed.
Yeah.
So I'm in good shape, but I'm holding back right now
I think that way, but I'm talking about
until it's time to really push.
Because this is my strong suit.
And I don't make any announcements. I just do my ride, and I decide when I've had enough of what the group is doing. And I ended up finishing this ride very, very strong. I did the whole route. I had 1,000 meters of climbing because I stuck to the route. That's why I set us out there, and it's really good.
If I drown, then who cares how fast I can run?
So once we turn on Honea-Egypt Road, the riding begins. I'm on Abby's wheel at this point. I'm in second position. The road is very slick. If you see that little slight shine, and with the mist on the camera, I'm sure Paul get around to cleaning it a little bit. We usually wipe the lens periodically with our finger and get it off. Right there where they scrape the road, when it's damp, it's very slick. You basically fishtail. So I ride where you see Laura is. That's where I stay. I stay on the old asphalt. This part of the asphalt is not as slick. So it almost defeats the purpose of them doing that. Because it's actually more slippery on the areas that they graded, supposedly for traction. Because the raised, they're almost like a washboard. Those raised pieces are slicker than the ones in between. We got a good sized group starting out. The group never stays the same number because by the time we get out there, there are people who are only doing the first hour, then they turn around or whatever. So, and that's all the more reason. Yeah, that's much better. So that's all the more reason why you don't follow the wrong people. So you will see me let people go like, one of the riders just kept changing the pace. So I slipped out of the line and drifted a few places back in the group on Keenan-Cutoff to just hold the rhythm I wanted to hold. Because some of these guys ride like they're in a world tour road race as opposed to the fact that we're trying to do 4 hours with a few people. So they end up not really doing the route or finishing the route because they empty their tank. They don't pace themselves to finish the ride strongly. They ride till they're empty. That's not really how you should be training. You should pace yourself to where you get to your event. Like if you're a competitor, you don't want to get to the finish line empty. You want to get to that finish line having something to finish. So when I'm training, I do my hardest effort solo later in my ride than early. I like to do my intervals late. So if I'm doing a 3-hour ride, I will do my intervals the last hour. This is the part of the road that's very slippery. See those raised edges? The little, yeah. So you see he's on this pavement. It's better there when it's damp. That's where I stay briefly, and then I'm going to get on the road because it gets narrower there. And so where he is, yeah, you might as well just stay on the road there instead of on that edge. Never ride where you see the edge is, where the white line is, and where the pavement is slightly raised. It's like a little lip. It makes your tires unstable. So pick a spot. Either you get on the line or you stay on the other. Don't ride on that little raised edge because it can scrape the side of your wheel and it can cause you to fall. So you decide what you're going to do. Abby was done pulling. I thanked him for the work and then I took over. I'm pulling right now. So I have decent condition, and that's why I'm pulling. I'm pulling at a pace that I know I can hold to enable me to do this. I'm doing about 7 hours. That's me, because I ride from my house and I do more. But with the group, they're doing about 4 hours if they do the whole route. So you got to pace yourself to where, okay, is what I'm doing now going to allow me to finish the 4 hours well? In addition to that, make sure you eat at least every 30 minutes to an hour. Eat every 15 minutes or so. Drink something, and so you're not behind. Because having fueled your body properly goes a long way to enabling you to finish your ride strongly. That's very important. There are a lot of little chipped areas, so I moved to the left. I let them know what was coming. We all know this area, but I just pointed out. I don't call things. I just point. It's easy. So it ended up raining just lightly on us, just enough to get us all dirty. I have my shoes covered because I suspected there might be some moisture. It just makes my cleanup later. I have a light aerodynamic cover on my shoe, and all it does is keep the grit from getting on my shoes, so I can just peel that cover off and wash it, as opposed to trying to clean my shoe and all the cracks and crevices where the laces are and all that. So it just makes your cleanup easy. I'm right at the top of zone 2 for me. That's where I am. I'm mostly working with feel, RPE, holding a pace that is steady. We're just starting to ride. In a little bit, I'm going to pull off. Right in this area here where we're going to be turning, that's where it gets really slippery. My rear wheel starts fishtailing, and I have to just kind of back off the power a little bit. Actually, we're already past the area. I missed where we were. That was the curve back there. Somewhere around here, I'm going to pull off. When I pull off, Paul is going to let me in front of him. It helps me track how I synchronize the clips. So I try to be in the frame as much as possible so I can synchronize it to my head unit. We're on Honea-Egypt Road, one of my favorite roads in the area, simply because of the patina. This road just encourages you to ride when you get on it. I really like coming out here. It's not super busy, but it's narrow and the cars are moving. And, you know, it's a secondary road. So I use my mirror, my ears, and I take the road when I need to. I think somewhere around here I'll pull off. Yeah, I'm drifting back. I'm looking in my mirror. I'm looking down to look for the wheels. And Paul's gonna.
Good call, my brother. Want to get in?
Those of you who saw the video where my derailleur, where I showed my derailleur that exploded on the other bike, I've since received the replacement derailleur, but it was a record derailleur. The super record had broken. I'm having trouble sourcing parts because as the group sets get older, it's hard to find the parts. And the people who do have them, other than the wholesalers, want a premium for them, especially for Campagnolo. And so it's reached the point where I'm on the fence about getting the Campagnolo 12-speed group set, budget allowing, and put that on. We slow down because these things are very slippery here. Yeah, and then we're going to ride up. Budget allowing, I want to get the 12-speed Campagnolo group set and put that on this orange bike. Then take the group set off of the orange bike and use them for future spares for the 2015 group, because it's gotten to where it is exorbitantly expensive to source individual parts because it's not coming directly from Campagnolo anymore, and I can't get super record wholesale, and so it's just like you're spending maybe a quarter of what it would cost to get a group set wholesale in the 12-speed group for just one component like a derailleur. And that's my plan anyway. Hopefully I'll be able to execute it and then just have these for parts. I'm gonna get the Super Record 12 when that happens because it is more serviceable, especially the rear derailleur. You gotta do your research, you know, if you're gonna be doing DIY, because the shops know this, the competent shops anyway. The Super Record 12 is more serviceable than the Record and Chorus and so forth. So I like to get the ones where I can get spare parts in the future if I need to. Right there, slippery, right there. They scraped the road and actually made it worse. I mean, if my tire is sliding, the cars have to slide too. It can't be any better for them. That's what Abby's talking about, that he was sliding too. As I told him, yeah, it happened to me. So now, if you notice that we're riding at, say, 20 miles an hour, 19, 20 miles an hour, my heart rate is in the top of my zone 1. Let's say almost zone 2. Now, when you train consistently, your body gets efficient, you build capillaries, you've probably heard that, so that as you go, your quality is good. Now, what I'm trying to caution you is if all you do is train in just a particular zone, it doesn't allow you to hit those higher zones comfortably when you're in a group necessarily. Now, it doesn't mean that riding long, steady distance is bad. What it means is if you are going to ride with groups that go faster, for your body to acclimate, you got to throw in some of those efforts in your plan. Don't just do one thing. Vary it. Depending on, what period of training you're in. Let's put it that way. I've lost, I didn't lose the code for this area has changed. We have the code, but the gate, I think the gate was open when we got in, but it's closed on the back and we'll have to wait for a call. They've changed the codes that we have. So we'll have to contact some of the people that live in here that gave us those codes to get the new ones. That's what I was telling them. The codes expired.
Good, man. How are you? All right.
When we come in this area here, people always back off. I'm not sure why. I move over. I sense Michael there. I move over. He's going to go through. I really like this jersey. I didn't mention that before. We got some new kits from Suki. I will release. Some people have been asking about reviews. I will release a video about the detail about these jerseys. I love the way they fit.
Matching her bike.
Laura's got a new bike also. Relatively new, yes. Yeah. Laura got the green. Her jersey matches the bike. Nothing Laura does is accidental. She plans her kids. She plans everything. She has all her essentials. Tubes, whatever. Her glasses are fogging up. I got mine on the back of my head. I'm going to use that and I'm putting it behind her jersey in the neck. So I've got my left hand next to my stem on my bar to give me stability. So I tell her to lift her jersey so I can slide it down right there. Because her hair's in the way. Her hair's very long.
Getting good on the road. My goodness.
So the guys don't know what we're doing back here, so we're going to have to lift our pace to get up there. So I'm going to pull everybody back. Yeah, these things are very slick. Especially, you notice I didn't go over the yellow paint. I used the asphalt. Paint, when it's wet on the road, is slick. Avoid it if you can. And if you must go over it, keep your bike straight. That's not where you want to turn. You've seen trucks and cars at intersections on the white painted lines when the guys mash the accelerator too much, they fishtail. So I go around this guy, I realize he's not going to make it up there. So Abby comes, I go ahead and just slip on his wheel. You've got to ride economically. Cycling is a finesse sport. When they say it's the smartest rider that wins, it also transfers. The smartest rider is usually the one that uses his energy best or wisely. I know I've got a long day. I'm going to be riding till about 1:30 in the afternoon, thereabouts. So I've got a very long day. My left pocket is full of stuff that I got from the house. I don't buy anything on the road. I bring everything. So if you want to make peanut butter sandwiches, cut them up into little squares. That's an inexpensive way, and it does work. You can put them in a plastic bag. That's Laura. And so you got to keep the nutrition you need. Don't go on the road and be surprised. You don't want to bonk. You don't want to be hungry on the bike. You don't want to be behind. Because when you're behind, then there will be parts of your ride where your energy dips too low and your quality suffers. I'm riding, the wheels on this bike today, on this ride, is they're the 202s. I like the older Zip 202s because they have polished aluminum hubs. I don't like a lot of the new anodized stuff nowadays. Everything's just anodized black. It's kind of boring. So I seek out those older wheels. You can find them on eBay, or sometimes some wholesalers will have them in inventory. I want to get rid of them. And you see how it looks on this bike. It's just nice and shiny. I really look for those. These are sew-ups. They're tubulars. So I've got a spare tubular tire in my middle pocket, but I do carry stands, no seal, just in case, so I don't have to throw away my tire if the hole is small enough for the sealant to work. But this has allowed me to get back into tubulars more because now I can get my money out of them. You notice where my tires were, I didn't touch that yellow paint at all. When it's wet, I avoid them. And out of a habit, I just avoid them, period. Because painted lines on the road are just slick because I think they're latex based or something. They're designed to be more durable. So that's Pete on the right. Can't really see him on the right. His name is Pete. He's in a gray jersey. One of our local legends. He does a lot of the weekday rides with Abby's group called Romeo. I can't make all their rides because, busy with other stuff. So the pace is picking up, and I'm watching to see if Pete wants to go in or whatever. Anyway, this part of the subdivision has a lot of rollers, and so you want to save your energy. Pete's saying something. Pete always likes to talk in the pace line. He says something, and I shook my head or something. I don't like to do too much talking once we get to riding, and when we pass the warm-up phase. I just want to ride. I want to focus on what we're doing. I mean, I can talk, but it's a distraction. I want to pay attention. I want to see what's going on. I want to be aware so I can make decisions quickly and smoothly, and don't be surprised by anything. Because things change quickly when you're in close proximity to other cyclists. I actually relax more when I'm riding solo. In the group, I'm on alert. Because falling's not fun. I don't get on my bike to fall off of it. It's just... You sit at least, 3 feet off your bike? 3 feet off the ground or more? That's a good fall. You hit the ground, your hip hits, you can hurt yourself. So the road's going up here at 2-point-something%. And since these are repetitive, when you're riding with the group and you got a lot of blips, if you're in good condition, it's easier said than done at that point. But if you're out of shape, you can really struggle because now we just went through that little S curve. It was up and down. There's a bit of a drift here. As soon as we go over, there's a speed bump coming. That's what Pete is letting us know. Once we go over the speed bump, it gets to like 4 or 5% or something like that. It just suddenly, the grade changes. See, all I did was I made sure my gear was supple enough, and I just spun it up. You see my RPM's above 90. Now we're going to be turning right, and it's wet. So I'm going to go out wide because I want to keep my bike as straight as possible. There's no vehicle coming. You see where I am? I'm going wide. I'm slowing down, and I'm keeping my bike straight. By taking that wide angle, I didn't have to lean my bike. I crossed the yellow line because the visibility in that area, it was not a blind corner, so I knew nothing was coming. And now this road is a slight grade right here. It's going to continue all the way to the back gate, and it will kick up in certain spots. So this is where you want to find a gear that's comfortable to where you're not spinning it out too much, but you're also not pushing. There's another speed bump. I thought about taking the spare sew up and tying it under the saddle, but I had done that a long time ago, and one time it fell off. So I just didn't want to worry about it today, so I stuck it in my middle pocket. I'm very particular what I put in my pockets, because my pocket is like treasured real estate. You know, you're spending 7 hours on the bike, you want to be, you know. So I will make another video down the road to talk about the key aspects of a bike fit, because I see a lot of riders moving around when they go hard. They got to slide before they push and all that kind of stuff. You shouldn't have to be moving around. You should be seated to where you just pedal harder. So I'm right at a sweet spot right here, which is fine. I did not do too many anaerobic workouts on this ride, and that was my plan. Spring is in the air, and so now it's time to start ramping up, so we're going to really get to play in future rides.
Good pull, man.
Got a lot of compliments on the bike I'm riding from Pete, who I was talking about earlier. He really liked the bike, and I found out later that he's really into bikes. He collects bikes. He has a lot of frames and bikes that he's collected, and that's why he's into it, because every time on the ride he compliments me about the bike. I like riding bikes. I'm not that into, I don't notice too many of other people's bikes. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, what I mean is, I don't fawn over, oh, beautiful bike, you got a new bike, and you know, a lot of when we go to rides, people talk about it. I'm just not into it. I just, you know, it doesn't mean I don't like bikes. I do, but it's kind of like when I come to a ride, I just want to ride. You know, good morning, how you doing? Let's clip in, let's do this. Yeah, so I don't get into too much of the drama, you know. I just want to ride. So Paul brought his new bike. You know, the bike he added to the fold. It's a bike he's always liked and admired and wanted to get, and it is great that he was able to get that bike. It looked really sleek, fits him well. So we don't have the code. I mean, well, our code doesn't work. And so I announced that, hey, the code has expired. Basically, it's been changed. And I think Pete didn't hear me, and he said, well, did you lose the code? I said, well, which part of the code has expired? You know, they change the codes periodically. So we're going to have to get a new one. So I let them know we're going to have to wait. Because sometimes we'll climb the fence. There's no point in climbing. We don't have the code to open the gate from the other side anyway. So I'm going to give him a hard time, because he had said he didn't remember my bike. And I tell him, I said, man, you took a picture of the bike, you put it on Strava. What do you mean? Yeah, so I came through here the prior week, and the code didn't work, so I had to go through the other neighborhood, Majestic. Yeah, to get back to Honea-Egypt.
Wow, they got our number.
Yeah, we got to get a new one from somebody, from Cyclist.
Look at that guy waiting.
There's a car on the other side waiting. He doesn't have the code either. Waiting for somebody. There will be a truck coming soon that will trigger the gate from the distance. I think he's probably got a remote or something.
Car coming back.
That's what Laura saw. You see the gates moving.
Oh, the car coming, let him go. Cool.
So it's like,
How did that open so far?
He must have a remote or something in there.
yeah, maybe he's got a remote to open the gate.
There's a car coming from the left. I'm not sure how come you don't recognize this bike. You took the picture and put it on Strava. So, don't tell me you don't recognize this bike. Come on, man.
There's an easy explanation for that one.
I'm giving Pete a hard time. I thought I said you took a picture of this bike, you put it on Strava. So he said that's an easy explanation. So I told him, I said, well, you're probably doing a lot of posting and you don't remember or whatever. And we laughed about it.
We know somebody that lives in there, so I'll get us a new code.
All right.
So Pete admires the bikes. He's into bikes. He's into that. I found out later, and that's his thing. And so that's fun. My how can I say? My attraction to bikes is kind of utilitarian. I like them to look good, but I most of all like them to feel good. They need to work. I don't like them to be a headache. If I've got to be fussing with it all the time, then it's junk as far as I'm concerned. I want a bike to be durable. I want to just ride it. I don't have a whole lot of time to be fawning over a bicycle and adjusting this and doing whatever. So that's my relationship with my bikes. I take care of them because they take care of me. They take me far away from home. They bring me back.
I like those shoes.
Almost all the time. And if they don't, it's not their fault. When that Gorilla exploded, I was within 5 miles of home. I made it. It took a while, but I made it. But it wasn't the bike's fault. But because I keep up with the maintenance on my bikes, they are just reliable and dependable. It's the same thing with an automobile. If you don't service them like you're supposed to, and you just drive them forever, at some point it will break down. And you won't do, preventive maintenance is what I'm getting at. So if I'm doing preventive maintenance on a bike and it's just such a fussy bike that I still got to be messing with stuff, no, it's not worth the headache. So I don't buy a bike because of the price or the glamour or whatever, the glitz. I buy a bike that's just going to work, where you don't have creaking bottom brackets and all this other crap that you got to keep dealing with. I want it to be bomb-proof. So when I stand with my bike, there's no creaking, there's no noises. It just goes. I hear my chain, only when they're dry. So as a result, I keep my chain lubed. I clean them after every ride. So when I stand up, all I hear are the tires grabbing the pavement. And that's the way it should be. Because if there's a noise from a component, something's wrong. And you need to deal with that and solve that. Because that means at some point it will break if you don't. Because it's out of spec. That's why it's making noise. It's not behaving as designed. I'm sitting on Alejandro's wheel through here. He's pulling. And he ends up going back when we get to Keenan. He ends up going back. He did not continue with us, so I guess his plan was different. So we get a lot of that on this ride. You probably, if you watch enough of these films. So the first hour is usually crazy and frenetic, and then it tries to settle down in the second hour and beyond, all that. So for me, my goal is to finish the ride, and I have other things to do at the end of the ride, so I don't empty my tank on these rides. So whatever I'm doing on the ride, I know will get me to hour 7 strong, or strongly, to say it that way. Pacing is crucial. So if you want to do a lot of jumps, you got to train for that. gotta prepare your body to do that. And jumps are hard, so people don't train for that because they're not fun. Sprints and attacks and surges. So everything goes on the rides. I don't try to deter others. I just do what I know what I need to do. I just stay within my parameters based on the time of year and how I feel that day. Nobody's cutting me a check for this ride, so I do what I'm in the mood for. So when I do decide to go hard, it's kind of a surprise, but it's a surprise to everybody but my buddy. But it's like people will make a comment, like one time we did some playing stuff in the forest last year, and the next ride, somebody said, Elder was attacking last week and blah, blah, blah. I didn't really say anything. There was a different reason why I was attacking. We had a few guys who would come and they would show off, take a long pull, then sit up to chat. If you're pulling in the group when you're done, pull off and go to the back. Don't sit in front of the group like it's a timeout because you're done pulling. And that's what they were doing. So, and they were doing it because they were tired. So every time they would do that, I would attack. So you're not resting. That's what that was about. It's just kind of like, so when you're pulling in the group, you're done pulling, go to the back. Get out of the way. Let somebody else take the lead.
I can imagine. I have not been. But
So we turn here, and the group, because it's wet, and that's where Alejandro is standing on the side of the road. I guess he's going back. But Abby asked him, "Are you good?" Because he stopped there. I'm not sure why. So Mike Bradbury and I are up the road. You can see there's a big gap. So I'm telling him, we've got a big gap in the group. We need to wait. And as a cyclist, people shouldn't have to do that. If you ride in the group, look back. Keep your eye on the group. Stay with the group. Look behind. See what's going on. You always, especially when you're pulling, keep your eye on your group. That's the whole reason you come to a group ride. And, a lot of people have trouble finding people that want to ride with them. And then when they have a group, they ride away from the group. Look how far away we are. I told them, I said, we need to wait. That's why you see us spread apart. We need to wait for the group. That's the whole reason for coming here. I can go hard. I've gone hard. Big deal. It's nothing new. Been there, done that. All right. I'm not in a hurry. I hope it makes sense. We're here to ride as a group. Now I tell them they're here. So we get the line together. This is Keenan-Cutoff Road. In a little bit, I'm going to pull out the line and go back to like fourth position. I end up behind Jaworski. The reason I did that is I wanted to get somebody who I could get a better draft off of. So I'm going to slip out of the line shortly. And just drift to the back. I'm going to wave one up. So I'm basically working on my strength, my leg strength. My cadence in the 80s. That's a good rhythm for me. I'm going to wave one up in a little bit. I just drifted the back. I've already waved one up. Paul's going to go around one and bridge up. I'm going to slip behind the rider. Well, I don't know if he's behind Paul, but he's going to come on my left, Dan, and I'm going to get on his wheel. And we're going to keep our tempo steady. So Paul goes to round 1. We're just keeping our train steady. This is Keenan-Cutoff Road. A bit damp. You can see all the raindrops on the camera. This part of the road is downhill, -2. We're doing 44K, but it's because of the downhill mostly. You can see my heart rate's like in zone 1. I'm basically feathering the pedals, coasting where necessary, spinning down, and you're gonna see it go to 0 and flip back up. I'm in 4th position here. So we use this road to go to a highway called 149. It's going to take us to Springbranch Road, which is a very nice cycling friendly road. The traffic volume is very low, the speeds are very low. Farm community, or ag community. So when you're riding and your legs start to burn or tighten up or whatever, you make sure you need to focus on being smooth. You need to make sure you breathe. Your legs may be protesting, but you got to still work on your form. You don't want to get to where you're pedaling squares, meaning just mashing the gears. You got to stay efficient because your body will get through that unless you're really drilling it. But that helps your improvement. We're approaching the intersection of Highway 149. The highway is busy, the speeds are high. We use the shoulder mostly, but we're on it less than a mile. I don't spend too much time on these kind of roads. I don't care for it. I don't care for cars buzzing by while I'm on a small shoulder. So we only use it for absolutely as long as we need to. So it's a conveyance to one of our favorite roads in the area, Springbranch Road. So in about 1,000 meters or so, we're going to turn left. turn is coming up. I'm behind there. I think I'm already on the road. There was a car behind us, but I let him know that we were going to turn and it slowed down. And he probably expected us to turn because some of the people out here are familiar with the routes we take. So we turn onto Springbranch Road and it's wet. So I had made sure everybody slowed down during that turn. I basically motioned with my hand, pushing towards the ground like, take it easy. So we're going to regroup, make sure everybody made it through the corner, and then we resume riding. This is Springbranch Road.
Es muy macho.
I like this road because low traffic volume, ag community, low speeds from the cars. It's always quiet. Abby's talking about Paul's new bike, saying he needs a bike like Paul. He's got a bike like Paul. I like to get very unique things, but I like bikes that are a little more compliant and easier to fit for me. So I'm very picky before I buy a bike. And so is Paul. So he did a lot of research, and he got a frame that fits him really well. We're going to have to film him in subsequent rides when he brings that bike out so you can kind of see how he looks on the bike. It's a beautiful design. I stay on that side to kind of let the wind slow me down. We're going into this, there's a curve coming up. The roads are slick. Those sew-ups on there came with that rim that I procured. They're like 23s, 24s, something like that. They got these unusual sizes. But I didn't know that they made a gator skin tubular tire. And that's what I have on there. It's tough. They're not the softest compound, but they're great for frequent rides on them. So I figure they came with the wheels. I'm going to wear them down as much as I can before I replace them, because I prefer softer compound tires on the tubulars. You know, they're pricier, but man, the ride is sublime. They're not as tough. So you really, I always read the road anyway, but yeah, I don't need them to last forever. I want to enjoy them while I have them. So I'm going to wear these out. Those are Zip 202 wheels. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I like them because of the beautiful polished aluminum hubs. You put some mother's polish on that thing, it just shines. Love it. If you look at my waist, you notice my body's not moving. That's the way you're supposed to be. So if you're tilting left or right, your saddle's too high. Regardless of how cool it looks, you're not efficient. That means you can't pull up. That's Loretta El Pirata. That's Abby in the back there with a white helmet and the Chartreuse Rafa kit. Paul is gleaming lens. So Springbranch Road is going to take us to the 9% climb. And my plan on this ride was not to do a lot of anaerobic efforts. So even though I feel strong, we start the climb, I'm climbing, I just kind of stayed with the group. So when you come to a group ride, Just know what you're coming there for. If you're coming there to work on your endurance or your handling, your skill. I like using the group to pay attention to proximity to wheels. It enhances your skills, and you travel faster, and really it pushes you without you mentally trying to do that. Because, you know, most of my rides are solo because my schedule is unpredictable. So I just get on my bike when I can and go out. And because my rides are short, you know, I can just go, drill it, and then come home and do whatever else I want to do. So yeah, so it's nice. The group rides are a nice change. I only do this ride on Saturday, and then maybe once in a while I may join a group on Sunday, but I ride about 6 days a week where possible, and 4 of those rides are solo. So this is where the 9% climb starts. I stand and my tire starts to slip because the road is damp. So I make sure I keep my weight over the bottom bracket. And I just stay on the guy in the orange jersey. I think he's got like a, what's the color there? Coral vest. I just stay on his wheel and keep the tempo. You can see I'm right at sweet spot. I don't want to go any harder. So Laura's up the road, Mike's there, Paul's going to bridge up to them. We're going to continue riding back here and ride back up to them. I was surprised that Paul made this bridge because he's been a little off his program. You know, he's probably been riding from time to time, but it's like he just figured he said later he wanted to test his engine. So I stayed. You can see my heart rate is actually going down. We've already finished the climb. We're riding, and Dan Jaworski is pulling back there. I'm just sitting on his wheel. We'll end up just riding back up to these guys. You'll see us catch up in a bit. Dan did a strong pull back there. He did most of the work to get us here.
Pull through and off, okay? We'll settle down.
So we have 3 riders here in the front. We're riding back. I'm just sitting in because I'm doing about 7 hours on this ride, and I really wanted to just do a minimal effort where possible. See, my effort is staying the same. That's the way. You have to know what you're doing. And I'm not looking at it. Just by feel, I can tell that I have not changed my zones. You can tell by feeling your breathing or your legs.
Keep it steady, no need to surge, okay?
So Paul is pulling. In a little bit, we're going to come up. We're going to roll up on them.
Nice work.
So the ride was a little gritty, meaning water, you know, sprayed from the wheel. Yeah, I made sure I soaked my jersey as soon as I got back. I soaked it in the sink in cold water so the dirt didn't set. And then I hand washed it because you get those spots on the back. Because it wasn't supposed to rain, it's supposed to be cloudy. But you got to wash your stuff right away. Don't put it in the hamper and let it sit there. If you ride on a wet ride, soak your jersey separately from your shorts. So the shorts has a lot of black water from the road that gets on you. Somewhere around here, I think we catch up. We just roll in and then, yeah, somewhere here. I'm just sitting in and just watching everything, and it's like, you know. I just rolled through. I don't plan on pulling anybody back. I'm not chasing anybody either. I just roll. See, I pull off to the left so that we can just, people can just go through. Whoever wants to go faster can go on the right. So in a little while, we're going to come around Paul. I kind of keep my eye on him because, you know, he hadn't been training as much, been busy with other stuff. And so once we go, I look in my mirror and I see him off the pace. So I go ahead and sit up. Right around there. I see him, so I sit up and wait for him to get on my wheel. So he told us later that he had trouble recovering, and that will happen if you've been off your program and you push too hard. It takes a while for your tachometer to swing back down. Let's put it that way. So I'm watching him. I'm going to let him come around me because I want him to set the pace so I can know what he likes right now. And then I'm going to come to the front and hold that effort, not necessarily speed. Just the force. You can just tell, you know, the rate of perceived exertion. So we're probably riding 2 out of 5 when I come to the front. That's when he comes by here, he does that, then I'm going to roll and come to the front. I wanted him to find a pace where he can catch his breath and recover. Because regardless of, if you haven't been doing the specific work, you have to teach your body how to recover after hard efforts. It's specific. And I knew he had been off his program. So that's how I kind of kept my eye on him. So I'm going to come to the front a little bit right there. I'm going to give him my wheel. I'm going to sit up high and just hold the effort he's been holding. Because since he was able to ride at that effort with me in front of him, that will give him even more of a recovery. At this point, we have a rider back there who was dropped on a climb that's riding alone. And he will eventually catch up to us, and we're just going to get on his wheel. But the purpose of this effort here is so that he can recover. So when you do intervals, they'll tell you, maybe 4 minutes on, 4 minutes off. If you don't get to the proper recovery zone, you may need more than 4 minutes to recover. So remember that when you're training. You know, it's not a thing about, I can ride at 27 miles an hour and I'm recovering at 24. It's not about the speed because the conditions dictate that, or the terrain. You want to focus more on what effort do I need to be in to recover in the allotted time. So if your coach told you, or whoever you're training with told you you're supposed to do 6 minutes on and 3 minutes off, if your recovery zone is too high, you may need more than 3 minutes. So you want to make sure it's low enough that within 3 minutes, you can go hard again. So you keep your quality if you're doing intervals. That's what this is about. So I'm keeping it steady. The speed is varying because the road's going up. It's almost like it's a slight drag the whole way. We're going up. I just keep it steady. So he gets a chance. You can see how quiet it is. He's finding the draft right there. He moved to my right because that's where the draft is right now. It may change. But that's how you ride. You find that draft. Throughout the ride, it's going to vary. You got to always look for it. So he's in the draft, so he's getting a chance to catch his breath. That's what it's about. That's what even the pros do when the riders have trouble. The team will wait for, like, the ride leader. They're having trouble, like those guys waited for Cavendish in last year's tour on the first mountain stage. He had all kinds of problems, but he wanted to get like his 35th win. They rode with him and gave him a wheel to follow, to encourage him to stay in the tour. And it worked out because he ended up winning his stage and getting that 35th victory, or was it 36? I think it was 35th because it was tied with Merckx, I think, at 34. I may be off there on the numbers, but anyway, that's what it's all about. So basically, this is what it means when you say riding together. And I'm riding at a pace that I can do for the duration of my day here, meaning I'm doing 7 hours. That's what I'm interested in. I don't give a crap whatever everybody else is doing. That's my goal for the day, because during the week I was doing little 30-minute rides here and 45 minutes an hour. That's all I had. So yeah. So on Saturdays, I want to do at least 5 hours. Those of you who have been here, you know that. That's my goal. It just really, when I get home, I feel great. I feel strong. So this is the guy who had been dropped. He's caught up to us, and so I just get on his wheel. I stayed in the same gear. We're going downhill, and you can see I'm soft pedaling and I stop pedaling. So in a few kilometers, we get to the corner up there and we see that those guys were waiting. I'm not really sure why they waited. If you're going to wait and not change what you are doing, then don't wait. Ride to the store. If you wait, then you need to change what you're doing, because we're not going to change what we're doing. It felt good to stand here. You see how the jersey holds all that stuff in my pocket? My pockets are loaded. That's what I'm talking about. I will have a video coming out shortly giving you details about this jersey. Pockets are reinforced, but look how it fits my waist. It doesn't move. That's how your kit should fit you. It doesn't need to be expensive. It needs to fit you. You can buy the most expensive kit. If it doesn't fit you, it will look like crap. It won't function. That's the way your kit should fit you. He said they waited. I'm like, I'm just going to turn and keep going. There's a car coming. He put his signal on. So the guy in yellow is going to go to the right. There's another guy named Pete. They're going to go to the right. They're not doing the whole ride. And so I just keep riding, and then I'm going to see Paul in my mirror. And so I'm going to just wait. Because, they waited, but they're going to do the same thing they were doing before. So what's the point of that? So like, just keep going, and we'll meet you at the store. We'll regroup at the store. So the goal of this ride long term, I may have mentioned it earlier. I don't remember at this point, but I'm trying to attract those who have not been training, those who are new to the sport, those who have interrupted their training, whatever. And so I'm going to be loading the route on a public board called Chasing Watts, where people can sign up for different speed groups, A, B, and C. And if they sign up, I will make sure they have someone to ride with, because I want to encourage more people to come to our rides. The rumor is, the ride is too fast. I've said before, this ride is fast, but we're not the fastest group in the area, and that's not the goal. I want everybody to come. I want this ride to bring out all the people who avoid group rides.
I just couldn't recover. How's it feel? Good.
He's asking Paul about his bike. That's Dan Jaworski. He's got a similar bike as well.
You won't believe I nearly slipped on one of those, they chipped off the road there.
Yeah, me too. I was fishtailing.
Yeah, Abby's talking about where they graded the roads. It's very slick. He said he nearly slipped there. I told him it's good that he stayed up. Yeah, I think they're very sketchy, because you bounce around and they have raised ridges like a washboard, and those were just very slick. So this is part of what we did on Saturday. Remember, get your casing and heat. Every doctor, fire. That's Abby.
Okay. Okay.
We'll meet you